So today, I am back with part 2 of the top Superman copycats. So, without further ado, let's just get started. Ultraman is an evil version of Superman from Earth 3, where everything in Earth's history was reversed. I mean, England won their independence from the United States, and actor Abraham Lincoln assassinated 16th President John Wilkes Booth. Yeah, everything happened in reverse here, which is why Superman, now known as Ultraman, was evil. And instead of starting the Justice League, he found the crime syndicate. And yeah, Ultraman was a part of it. He played the same role as Superman did, and they were the most powerful villain team on the planet. He's strong and tough enough to fight against several versions of Superman and even Wonder Woman 1,000,000. He's fast enough to blitz pre-Crisis and Golden Age Superman. He has an ultra breath, heat vision, and significantly enhanced senses. Unlike Superman though, Ultraman's power increases when he's exposed to kryptonite, and absorbing a lot of it allowed him to see into other universes. However, there's a limit to this. If he absorbs too much, it will weaken him all the same. The Immortal. Much of Immortal's origins are unknown, even to him. We do know he was a Celtic warrior, and he's over 3,000 years old, and at some point he was exposed to some sort of superpower aura or something that gave him his immortality. He had several aliases in our world's history, like the Knight Lancelot, the explorer Christopher Columbus, and even the U.S. President Abraham Lincoln. He became a superhero in the 1930s and later on formed the Guardians of the Globe, the most powerful superhero team on the planet. And they were a lot like the Justice League, with the Immortal being their most powerful member, aka like Superman. He's casually sent villains to space, overpowered the Mauler twins, evenly fought against Alan the Alien, and he's fought against Omni-Man, even causing him to bleed. He's taken hits from those same characters, including Invincible and Omnipotus, and he basically ignored having his arm ripped off. He can easily fly at several Mach speeds, as he's caught up to and intercepted Invincible before, who can go that fast if not faster as well. His main power is his immortality, although he's technically been killed before. He's been decapitated, he's been ripped in half. He doesn't actually die. His body just enters like this comatose-like state, and he doesn't actually die. He does also have over 3,000 years of fighting experience, as he was a Celtic warrior, and then a legendary knight, and then he was a soldier in the Revolutionary War and in World War I. The dude has combat training and experience, as well as this massive amounts of power on his side. Mr. Majestic. Majestros is an alien who got trapped on Earth during a war with another alien race. He then spent the next several centuries fighting for justice under the name Mr. Majestic. Captain Atom said he hits nearly as hard as Superman. He straight up moved planets and moons single-handedly. He's fought evenly with Superman, Eradicator, Captain Atom, overpowered Maul and Apollo, and he threw a nuke from Earth all the way to the sun. He's tanked a nuclear explosion, withstood hits from those same characters I mentioned earlier, survived being stabbed in the neck, and survived the destruction of Earth. He can react faster than nanoseconds and casually flown from planet to planet within moments. He's even fought so fast that it seemed he was everywhere at once. He can also project energy beams from his eyes and hands that can rival the heat of a star. He also has super breath, telepathy, and telekinesis too. The Samaritan is Astro City's quintessential superhero in a post-apocalyptic world in the 35th century. He was sent back in time to the year 1985 to stop the Challenger disaster that started the apocalyptic future he lived in. Upon doing this, he dedicated himself to being one of Earth's premier defenders. While time traveling, he was imbued with the energy of the Hyperion fire, which is how he got his powers. He's strong enough to hold up a skyscraper and to throw a monster from Earth all the way to the sun. He's no-sold bullets, lasers, explosions, as well as energy and magical blasts. He's even survived planetary destruction and the destruction of reality itself. He's so fast that he's changed into his costume while surrounded by people, and no one noticed. He's also flown from Turkey to Astro City in 17 seconds. He can also project the Hyperion web, an energized web that can hold things and block attacks. It's blocked a typhoon and held a collapsing building together as well. Wonder Man. Simon Williams was turned into a being of pure ionic energy by Baron Zemo and used as a weapon against the Avengers until his death. Upon his resurrection, he joined the Avengers and fought with them for years before pursuing a career in acting. He easily beat Abomination and Red Hulk, stalemated Hulk, took down Giant Man with ease, sent Thor and Hercules flying. He's kept an entire island from toppling over, and his fight with Hyperion shook the planet. He's taken hits from those same characters, plus a hit from Gladiator that sent him to the planet's core, a hit from an enraged Sentry, and a hit from the Champion. He also tanked millions of volts of electricity and survived a massive ionic explosion, although he was knocked out from this. And while he's not as fast as other Superman copies, he can move and fly at least a few Mach speeds, which is, a few times faster than the speed of sound. So he's definitely not slow by any means. He can also teleport, and sometimes his ionic energy leaks out of him, which causes him to go a little crazy, which is fine. He can project ionic blasts and even make ionic constructs as well. Blue Marvel. After being exposed to the negative zone, Adam Branchier became a stable antimatter generator, a superhero named Blue Marvel. But after a while, since it was the 60s and racism was sky high at the time, the US president asked him to retire from being a superhero, so he did. But after a while, he was allowed to return. He one-shotted Ultimate Hulk, lifted a meteor the size of Arkansas, defeated King Hyperion, who had killed all the heroes in his own universe basically, sent Sentry flying into orbit with one punch, and the Watcher claimed that he could split the moon in half with one punch. He withstood several hits from King Hyperion and Sentry, tanked an H-bomb, and nukes can't stop him either. And he's flown from the Earth to the moon in mere minutes as well. But his main power is his antimatter absorption and projection. You see, antimatter and matter are the same, but it's negatively charged instead of positively charged. When they are in contact with one another, they explode. 1 gram of antimatter equals the nuke dropped on Hiroshima, and 1 drop can power New York City for 1 full day, 24 hours. He can use this to project powerful blasts, create force fields and shields, increase his own striking power, and even release it as a massive omnidirectional pulse of devastating power. Supreme. After being exposed to a meteor that was made of supremium, as a boy, Ethan Crane gained incredible powers, and as he grew, he used his powers for the good of mankind under the name Supreme. As a toddler, he was already able to lift a building. He moved the country of India, and in his fight with Glory, not only did he break Glory's arm, but they also flattened an entire city. He's tackled an enemy to the Earth's core and even destroyed a planet by flying through it. He was fine after being sent flying to the moon, and it was said that he could survive a planetary impact. He's reacted in a nanosecond, and he can move and fly faster than the speed of light easily. He can also project his consciousness out of his body to mimic heightened sensory abilities, collectively known as his Senses Supreme. Stare Supreme is his eye beams, which are made of plasma and have knocked back a giant monster. Shout Supreme allows him to raise his voice to project a sonic boom. He can examine the world on a molecular level, see through walls, smell a specific ant's formic acid, and even zoom his eyes in 100 times his normal vision. He can also regenerate lost limbs, although we don't know how long it takes for him to regenerate any lost limbs. Hyperion. He was the only survivor of his destroyed universe, Earth 13034. While drifting in the dead universe, he was plucked by AIM and brought to Earth 616, where he would become an Avenger and later form the Squadron Supreme. He has the exact same powers as Superman. He was strong enough to one-shot Hulk back into Bruce Banner. However, it can be debated that the Hulk was calming down already, so take that with a grain of salt. But he also easily carried and through the city of Atlantis, overpowered Namor, stopped a planet moving at incredible speeds by himself, and single-handedly held back an incursion, the collision of two whole universes. And he only failed because the two universes collapsed under all the pressure, not because he wasn't strong enough to hold them back. He's tanked hits from Namor, blasts from High Evolutionary, and withstood hits from Hulk as well. But most impressively, he survived being in the center of an incursion. Two universes exploded, and he was in the center of it, and he survived it. Knocked unconscious, but he survived it. I think that being knocked unconscious can't be taken away from him. And he was significantly faster than light as well. His heat vision staggered Hulk and Thor, and even decapitated Namor. Not to mention his King Hyperion evil version of himself, where he had literally killed most of the heroes in his own universe. Gladiator. Calark is a part of the Strosian race, an incredibly powerful alien race strengthened by their confidence. He was subjugated to the Gladiator process, which enhanced his abilities beyond their limits, making him the perfect fighting machine and protector. He overpowered Wonder Man and Jane Foster Thor, fought evenly with Hulk, sent Thanos flying back with a punch, destroyed a planet with just a few hits, and has said that he's moved entire worlds. He survived an explosion that would have destroyed half of the solar system. He's counted 10 billion micro-sentinels in mere moments, flown over 100 million miles in moments, and has reached speeds of 100 times faster than the speed of light. His heat vision is hotter than stars, and he has a super breath that can freeze too. He was also a trained warrior. However, his power is dependent on his confidence. Feelings of self-doubt or something like that would significantly weaken him. However, he's said to be unmatched in outer space, while fighting in outer space, because he could really let loose and go all out. He's also said to be kind of a brutal fighter as well. And lastly, we have Sentry. Robert Bob Reynolds was a student with schizophrenia. Using drugs to cope, he drank an amplified variation of the super soldier serum to get high. Instead, he gained immense power, becoming the Sentry. However, so did his schizophrenia, and on the same day Sentry was born, so was the Void, his darker side. And while he's stable now, the Void never dies. He's so strong that he fought evenly with World War Hulk for an extended period of time, with Bruce Banner mentioning later that he was one of two people who could have stopped him by himself. He also casually tore through adamantium walls and ripped Ares in half. He's withstood beatings from World War Hulk and the Void, and Wolverine's adamantium claws couldn't pierce him. He has an accelerated regenerative healing factor to the point he's regenerated his entire body on more than one occasion. And he can move, react, and fly dozens of times faster than light speed, hundreds of times faster than light speed. He also has other powers too, like energy projection and manipulation, matter manipulation, telepathy, teleportation, molecular manipulation, and he can heal others as well too. And then there's the Void. He has all the same powers as the Sentry, but is insane, and has even been described as a threat to the entire universe. Sentry can't even truly die unless he allows it. As for when he was literally written out of the timeline, he just popped right back into place like it was nothing. And then there's also another evil version of Sentry called Death Seed Sentry. Basically, he became the Horseman of Death for Apocalypse, and his power was amped significantly, more powerful than anything he's ever been before, except maybe the Void. I don't know how the Void and Death Seed would react to fighting one another. Who knows? But yeah, Sentry is easily one of the most powerful beings in all of Marvel, and is definitely the most powerful Superman copycat out there. But none of them can hold up to the popularity and familiarity of Superman. That's my list. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Leave a comment of what you thought and hit the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos and all the great stuff. I truly do appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.